Kids and cadets, welcome back to Tommy Time. This Troy-Bilt's a 2016. We started working on it yesterday. I had just got this in a group of 5, 4 mowers and a pressure washer. I did pay the scrapper today, or yesterday actually, $50, $10 each. So this would not start on happy juice. It had a funky aftermarket plug, and the recoil was broken. It looks like the carburetor is an aftermarket carburetor. We'll discuss that in a minute. So this thing would not fire off. I ended up doing a compression check. We got 60, which I'm very happy with, so it should fire off with that amount of compression. So what we're going to do is put the carburetor back. I'll find out, show you what I found out with that issue. I checked the valves. I brought my feeler gauge out, put it at top dead center, and we're within limits on the valves. I thought it might be a stuck valve, but I did the valve check first and compression check second. Took the fuel out of the tank. There was very little fuel in it and very little in the bowl itself. There is some debris in the fuel which came out of the tank, which isn't an issue because there is a screen at the bottom of the tank to stop any crud from getting into the carburetor. Gas is kind of milky. I'm guessing it's contaminated with water. It's got that. It's not clear. It's a cloudy fuel here, so I'm thinking it's bad fuel. But we're going to find out here in a minute. It could have been another issue as well with the carburetor. We'll discuss that next. So like I said, it looks like somebody put an aftermarket carburetor on it. It's no Briggs & Stratton. They would stamp theirs with their ID. This is an aftermarket carb. And I'm guessing that plug that was in it came with this. You can buy the carburetor and a spark plug. They sell a kit. So I removed the center cartridge, and the gasket for that was all tweaked out and loose and hanging off. I opened up the main jet with my micro bits. So what I'm going to do is remove this gasket because it's not doing anything, and put another gasket on it. I have another cartridge off another machine. Somebody had bored this out too much and it was flooding the engine. I saved the cartridge. I'm going to steal the gasket off of this one and put it on this Troy-Bilt. So I don't know if that crappy gasket had anything to do with the non-running issue or if it was the fuel. So I'm just going to peel this downward, get it off of this cartridge, and throw it on the original Troy-Bilt cartridge. So I'll point out something else here in a minute when I get my hands freed up. Somebody's been in this carburetor after the fact. I think they actually were messing around with this cartridge, and maybe they put a screwdriver too close to the gasket and screwed that up when they tried to remove this thing. They may have been chasing a carburetor issue when it was that cheap China plug that was malfunctioning. So let me just work this gasket into the track where it belongs. Okay, part of the issues here as well. I have to address that. But let me show you here. If you can see those two marks, somebody stuck a big screwdriver in here and left some burrs here. It looks like a rusty screwdriver they used because there's still some leftover crud here. So they stuck it in, popped this thing up, and they actually screwed up the track, the rubber track where this gasket goes. So I got to get a screwdriver real quick and clean out the track here, because this new gasket I have is not going to sit flush where it should. So hold on a minute. I got to rectify stuff here on the fly as I discover it. So I'm just going to try to push that plastic that's burred up out of the way so this gasket can sit flush. I may grab a blade, a razor blade, to clean out this track here. So you often see Harvey the homeowner messing with stuff and causing problems. This may be the issue with this thing. I don't know why he messed with the aftermarket carburetor, but he went snooping around trying to figure out what the issue was. Okay, so we're cleaning out the track pretty well here. Just doing this on the fly. The other side's fine. This side's the side he jammed a rusty screwdriver in here. So you never know what you're going to find. At least he put all the screws back that should have went where they go and didn't screw up that. But he gouged up this cartridge. Okay, let me bring up the gasket and sit it in this track where it belongs. Maybe this was the running issue here. Not making a good seal. Okay, that's perfect. It's in the channel. I don't see anything sticking up where it shouldn't be. I'm going to put it back together and we're going to try this together. So the cartridge only goes in one way. Push down with both thumbs till it clicks. Okay, it's down. The bowl goes on next. I'm looking at my main jet here. I'm looking at the little pickup divot that goes right on top of the jet so it can suck up fuel. Line up my two holes, push down the bowl. Now let me start putting this thing together. You guys can watch from above. The two screws with the wide washers, those are the ones that go on the bowl. $7mm. You'll also use that 7 on the air filter backing plate. The two screws that go in here are 7mm as well. the 7mm screws for the backing plate. This goes directly into the plastic carburetor. The two sheet metal screws are 8mm. They go from the backing plate into this metal bracket. The tank goes on next. You can see the new clamp here that came with the carburetor. So the tank's got to go on first, and then the recoil lash. Then I'll put the plug in, add some fuel, and see what the 2016 is going to do. The 3 sheet metal screws for the recoil, those are also 8mm. I'm going to put that on next, and then the spark plug, the NGK that I had good spark with in the first video. My iPad overheated in the full sun when I did the initial looky on the 2016, so I couldn't continue on. Sorry, I just kicked you in the leg. I do have oil. It is a little high, but it's good enough to start, and I'll change it. So I did a video on the recoil rebuild on this thing here. I did a new rope. I'm just going to confirm I have spark since the plug's off and the wire's nearby. I do indeed have spark. Let me fetch some petrol, and that's all we need to do is add that combustible material to this fine 2016. That should be enough. So we got spark, we got 60 psi for compression. We went through the carburetor to make sure that was up to snuff. I opened up the main jet. There should be no reason this thing doesn't start now. We got acceptable valve lash here. We got fresh fuel. Let me pull on this thing. If this doesn't start, I'm going to be somewhat disappointed. Not totally, just somewhat. That's not good. I'm going to happy juice it. I can smell the carb cleaner coming out of the exhaust. It's in the air. I know it's getting combustible material. My plug's wet. It smells like fuel on the tip and it's wet. We got to have a spark issue of some sort. Weak spark. Something's not adding up. Let me try to snatch a plug nearby. Go to the kitchen, get a snack, come back. I just grabbed a quantum style plug. It's not the plug for this model, but it sparked. I just want to try it. I don't have one of these engines close by. I just snagged a quantum plug. Time to dig deeper. I'm going to remove the recoil. Maybe there's an issue with the recoil wire. I kind of glanced at the cable, the safety brake cable. That looked like it was all in order. I'm going to do some snooping, come back at you. It's a 23-minute video now. You guys are getting tired out. I'm getting tired of pulling on this with no action. I'll come back at you. Sometimes you win, sometimes you fall off a cliff.